Happy Samurai Sunday. The samurai manual that I swear by is the Book of Five Rings by world-renowned samurai Miyamoto Musashi. So in the Book of Five Rings, we go over the 5 sword fencing attitudes, and I'll begin the first 3 of the 5 sword fencing approaches, and then a bonus sword fencing technique for you. Let's begin. To learn the 5 sword fencing attitudes, first start off in your fighting stance and begin with the middle attitude. The point of the sword is about at eye or head height. Right hand on top of the left. Obviously if you're right-handed, left hand on top of the right. If you're left-handed, with your left foot forward. But since I'm right-handed, right foot forward, left foot back. The middle attitude. The next attitude is high. And then also we have the low sword fencing attitude. There are also left and right attitudes for each position. So there's actually an additional combination of upper right, upper left, and lower right, lower left. And depending on the techniques that you implement, you'll end up in a combination of attitudes sometimes. So now let's move into the sword fencing approaches. The first sword fencing approach is from the middle. And from the middle, you either dash the enemy's sword to the right as he's attacking you, or you pop his blade downward and remain in the middle attitude. The second approach is from high. From the high approach, we attack as the enemy is coming in. We attack his blade, dashing it down. And then we scoop up, attack from underneath, attack the enemy's arms. And you can repeat the cut. We can smack his blade down and then scoop from underneath. And then the third approach is starting from a low attitude, we scoop up at the enemy's arms as he's attacking. So the enemy is coming in to attack, you go for the enemy's arms, or you can hit his blade and then attack downward and repeat the cut. So once again, the first approach is beginning in the middle attitude, smacking the blade down or knocking it to the right, and then continuing your approach. The second approach is beginning from up high. We cut as the enemy advances, and if he evades the attack, scoop upward, attacking at the arms. And then the third approach is similar to that variation, where we begin by scooping up at the arms as he moves in. Now, for a bonus technique, it's referred to in the Book of Five Rings as tut-tut. And the way this works is from the middle, or preferably the lower attitude, the enemy is coming in with his blade. Let's say it's coming in a horizontal or diagonal. You catch his blade on an upward tut, and then using your body weight and the push-pull method of a sword fencing attack, where you push down with your top hand and pull up with your back, you strike downward while moving in a lunging position specifically. So let's try that out. Slower first. We begin tut and then tut as we're lunging forward. So it's similar to a lunging stab, but instead of that sort of thrust, it's actually a downward cut with some lower body movement again. And like some of the approaches, you can repeat the cut over and over again. Every time he tries to advance with his blade, tut, tut. Advances again, tut, tut. And you may actually get the poor child to retreat backward. So this is a way of laying on the attack continuously on the enemy. So, let's talk about the Book of Five Rings for a second. World-renowned samurai Miyamoto Musashi was the victor in like 60 plus duels in single combat. He devised these strategies over and over again to repeat and be victorious. And one of his techniques is to press the attack, to keep the opponent or enemy or what have you back on his heels so that you're always pushing the advance. And let me demonstrate once more how that bonus technique can work. Imagine every time I begin my first tut is to smack the enemy's blade out of the way, catching it while he's trying to attack. No matter what, you can keep applying that attack with that forward thrust as you strike downward on that second tet. Thanks for joining me for Samurai Sunday. I'm Thomas Aquarius. For more warriorship tips, be sure to add me on Instagram at Thomas Aquarius, and press like, hit subscribe, and if you'd like to see more from the Book of Five Rings, and if you've ever used the Book of Five Rings or perchance the Art of War in your personal practice, in your business strategy, or maybe if you're in combat sports or any form of competitive athletics, leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next Samurai Sunday.